Hello, my name is Doug McGraw, and I have chosen for my final presentation to cover what factors might encourage a secular psychologist or a religious person to adopt the Spies Paradigm. I believe on either side of this, whether it's a religious person or a secular person, that first their worldview needs to be considered. And here we have the definition of a worldview, where a worldview is a commitment, a fundamental orientation of the heart that can be expressed as a story or in a set of presuppositions, which we hold consciously or subconsciously, consistently or inconsistently, about the basic constitution of reality, and that provides the foundation on which we live, move, and have our being. So, to me, this is the first step in the foundation of which model we would choose in integration, regardless of whether or not it was the Spies Paradigm. 7 prime questions to ask when we're looking at our worldview is: what is prime reality? What is the nature of external reality? What is a human being? What happens to a person at death? What is possible to know? Why is it possible to know anything at all? How do we know what is right and wrong? And what is the meaning of human history? So with that then leads to, once we establish our solid foundation through our worldview, then that can guide us towards integration. That's the first step. And then we need to know whether we want to integrate at all and understand why we're integrating psychology and theology. In class, when we studied our 2 professors and their thoughts on the need for integration of psychology and theology, they both resoundingly said yes. Laverne Jordan stated that psychology is the study of human behavior, and that theology is the study of God, and Christianity is where the two intersect. David Cartwright, when he presented or was asked this question, gave a similar answer where he said theology is about understanding and discovering God, where psychology is about understanding and discovering people. And the two can be used together to find our purpose. And they both had stated and felt that this was the purpose of Christ here on earth, was to integrate the two, and that we'd have a better understanding of God and human behavior, and then the two intersect so that we can be whole and we can better serve God. So we establish our worldview, we establish and understand that there's a need for integration, and then we move on into why we would want to look at, if we were a secular psychologist or we were a religious person, why would we want to merge the two when we're talking about the world of psychology or counseling? Well, a emerging field in the world of psychology and counseling is Christian counseling. And the field of Christian counseling is emerging due to the recognition of the benefits of counseling and the need of Christians to have a counselor who understands them and their belief system. So if there's a need emerging where we see this, where an entire field is growing that Christians want Christian counseling, so this starts to then lend itself as to why would a secular psychologist want to adopt integration, and why would they want to adopt specifically the Spies principle? Well, when we look at the Spies Paradigm or the Spies model, it's what the Spies Paradigm is. It's a sort of espionage which occurs when psychologists become interested in appropriating the benefits of religious belief and practice for psychological well-being. So basically what they're doing is they're looking from the outside in and saying, hey, I like what this is. I have clients that are wanting and needing this, so I'm going to look into Christian counseling and see if I can adopt some of their teachings so that I can better assist my Christian client. And they would be following what was called when we break it down, there were 2 groups, foreign spies and domestic spies. I focused on foreign spies because I was looking more at the secular counselor or secular psychologist looking into Christian counseling to adopt ideas that they could use in their field of practice. This is psychologically committed espionage, which occurs when a person who has a primary commitment to the field of psychology
becomes interested in appropriating religious contributions to psychological or physical health. So basically what they've said, their education or their background may be secular, but they, as a student of human behavior and a student of their practice and wanting to grow their practice, may look across the aisle and say, hey, I can adopt some of these principles to better help my client, because that's the overall goal. It's not about me, it's about the client. Which, when you look at that, that really is a Christian or a godly worldview. If, going back to the worldview, if you adopt that, is that I'm here to serve God and I'm here to serve my client and to do the best for them. So that brings us into to wrap up the presentation here and this verse from 1 Corinthians 10 and 31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. Do not cause anyone to stumble, whether Jews, Greeks, or the church of God, even as I try to please everyone in every way, for I am not seeking my own good, but the good of many, so they may be saved. So that last sentence there, that's the whole key to this, is to, as we walk through and build our worldview, we have an understanding that it is necessary to integrate. That's Christianity, is to bring the two together, to understand God, His plan and purpose, to understand human behavior. How do we all fit together to glorify God overall? And then we bring it to what type of integration do we want to look at. And this is where I see that Spies integration could be a popular one, or one that a secular psychologist would choose, where they're going to look across the aisle, because they're not seeking their own good, but they're seeking the good of many in their practice. And they're saying, hey, what are you guys doing that I can use in my practice to help my Christian clients? So with that, I see and would say that these are factors that would steer or encourage a secular psychologist to adopt the Spies Paradigm or the Spies model so they could better serve their client. Thank you.